to the channel. I'm just making this little clip right here, sorry about the wind, as a sort of a preface to a little rant I have that goes on later on in the video about the speed limiters. I just wanted to make it clear that there are far worse things going on right now in trucking, and I'm well aware of that. But I guess it's just one of those things where I just feel like it's kind of the straw breaking the camel's back, the kinds of rules they're trying to implement on the trucks out here, on the drivers. You know, it's like, when are they gonna, when's it gonna be enough, you know? But anyway, I wanted to preface this, you know, by also saying, you know, I've heard a lot of stuff from DIY, Semi, which, you know, and, you know, Cash is King, and two amazing YouTube channels. Obviously they're far bigger than mine, so it's not like I'm exactly lifting them up or anything, because they've already got way more subscribers than I do and way more reach. But like DIY says, you know, it's not, you know, this the thing he has the biggest issue with on the limiters is that there's something written about how they're going to limit it to 60. 60 is going to be the speed limit for trucks, the limiter. And he doesn't like that for the mere fact that it is a mechanical disadvantage. And he's right, for a lot of trucks. The problem, you know, so I feel like with my truck, with old Levi there, I've got a bit of an advantage. The problem with 60 mile an hour, especially with these newer trucks, is they are not designed to drive down the highway pushing 1500 or 1500 RPMs, 1400 RPMs, whatever, all day long. They're just not designed for that. That's out of their power band. It's not good for them. It's just, you know, it's not good for the trucks. So to keep it, you know, in a safe RPM range, it's got to be a lower RPM. And because it has to be lower RPM, so probably like 1100, 1200 at most, because it's got to be 1100 or so RPM, at that RPM, if you start to go up a hill, it takes forever for your turbo to spool up. And you lose a lot of momentum, and it's just a waste. It's a waste of energy, in my opinion, for the truck. You know, otherwise it could have gotten up the hill maybe a little more efficiently. Well, with my truck, it's actually more designed to run at a higher RPM. These Caterpillars are. So 1400, 1500 RPM going down the road non-stop is actually ideal on these trucks. You don't want to lug these trucks. You don't want to lug these Caterpillars. So when I do that, I keep it on the low side of 8th gear, and at 60 mile an hour on the low side of 8th gear with this 18 speed, it's pushing about 1450 RPM. That's perfect. As soon as it hits a hill, it will, the turbo spools up very fast, starts climbing that hill, and depending on the weight and what I have in here, or, you know, depending on the weight and everything and the grade of the hill, it really doesn't lose hardly any momentum. So I've got that advantage going, but that doesn't mean I agree with the limiters. So if you, you know, want to see my rant, so to speak, about it, it's about the last 15 minutes or so of this video, but if you wanted to fast forward to it. But that's why I just wanted to go and put this out here, this disclaimer or preface, whatever you want to call it. I am aware there's far worse things to deal with right now in trucking. This really isn't the end of the world, but it is annoying. It is very annoying, but like I said, and I'll put up a clip, you know, when I'm talking about, you know, when I'm driving at 60 miles an hour, you'll see where my RPM is and all that stuff. And for those of you that don't, you know, you might be more of an automatic truck driver kind of guy, you know, or you've never driven an 18 speed or never driven anything but a 10 speed or an automatic, so you don't understand what I mean by splitting the gears or the high side or the low side. Here's what I'm talking about. All right, got here, you've got this splitter right here, which is between your high range and low range on your gear shifter. So you've got 1 and 5. So this black lever would differentiate between the 1 and the 5. However, with a 13 and an 18 speed, you've got this splitter right here, which on an 18 speed, this splitter is gray. On a 13 speed, the splitter is red. That's how you distinguish the two if you just kind of climb in the truck and look real quick. So anyway, what I do is at 60 miles an hour, I see here's the 8th gear right here, and I just see how it says high and low. I just flick this. Here, it's in high right now. So when I get in the 8th gear, I go from 7 high down to 8 low, and then I just keep it in 8 low at 60 miles an hour, and that works best for me. If I put it up into the high range like that, it's going to be too low of an RPM, just like what DIY was talking about. That'll be too low of an RPM right there, and for one, it won't be good for this engine. It'll lug it too much. But because this engine is kind of designed to run at a higher RPM, if I keep it low like that, it's going to be continuously in its optimal RPM range. So that's what I mean by splitting the gear and putting it on the low side. Like I said, the truck just runs better at a higher RPM in this particular truck. A lot of the older trucks are that way. The pre-emission trucks. I know somebody will argue with me, oh, your Caterpillar C15 isn't technically a pre-emissions truck. I get it, but hey, this thing doesn't even have an EGR cooler on it, even though it's an 05. They did the twin turbo and all that stuff to try to answer the same kind of, to appease the EPA. They did the twin turbo thing instead of an EGR, and I always forget the name of whatever the IVACs or whatever those are called that go along with what they did and with the Acer, but that's what they did instead of an EGR cooler. So this doesn't have any of that stuff. Doesn't have an EGR cooler, and it doesn't have DPF, and definitely no DEF. So it really is a pre-emissions truck in my mind. Anyways, the older pre-emissions trucks like this one, even like the 12.7 Detroits, the old Cummins, things like that, I don't know about the ISX, the old ISX, I could be wrong about that, but like like an N14 Cummins, things like that, they run better at a higher RPM. And like I said, I mean, I get the best fuel efficiency on this truck when I'm at that 1400, 1500 range. That's when I can usually see like 6 miles per gallon with a 40,000 pound load going through PA. So, sometimes even a little better. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted, like I said, I wanted to preface this video with this. It's going to be a longer video, but like I said, the last 15 minutes or so is where I'm discussing about the speed limiter. But yeah, again, there's a lot of other things right now in the trucking industry that really do mean disaster for independent owner-operators, potentially. We could have a big fight on our hands in the coming years to come. So, yeah, I just, like I said, it's just one of those things. I just had to, I don't like my channel to have negative stuff on it. I know I've ranted before, but I don't like to do that because it pushes people away. But at the same time, I have opinions, and that's kind of what this channel's about, is espousing my opinions. And, when you don't like it, those that listen to it that don't like it, feel free to comment and, amicably comment and debate me. That's fine. I am open to a friendly debate. I really am. I am a conservative amongst a family of liberals. So, debate is not something I shy away from. So anyways, guys, but that's all I wanted to say. We'll go ahead and go on to this video. This is a long intro for this video, but we'll go ahead and go on to this video, and yeah, y'all have a good one. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? How's it going out there? Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me today. Getting an early start, heading to the truck right now. It's about 4:30 in the morning, and we're gonna go get the truck serviced, see if they can't figure out what this oil leak is exactly. Get a time frame on it. I probably won't be able to get the oil leak fixed today. I got to run a load tonight, so we'll just have to make arrangements for maybe next week and something like that, and get this thing in there. But at least we can get it figured out exactly where it's coming from. Good deal. So hopefully the fluids will be warmed up a little bit in there. Man, that thing really puts out a bit of exhaust. I can smell it from here. Exhaust coming out of that green APU. Don't seem so green to me. No, that APU must have just turned on because it's yeah, the temperatures are not very high. So that's a bummer. Oh well. We'll let it warm up, I guess. Start throwing some of my groceries over there. Needs to air up too. Woo-wee. Oh, she's all aired up. Well, suspension anyway. The mud flaps are off the ground. We have liftoff. Alright, let's back her out here so I can put the Jeep in this spot. Yeah. You know what we're gonna do. I've said it before too, and I'll say it again. You never want to let these trucks idle at a low idle. It's terrible on the, especially on the heads on these older trucks. Doesn't build enough oil pressure to circulate oil efficiently. So we're gonna bump up the idle now that it's warmed up a little bit, and we'll, let it finish warming up. Right now we're only at about 109 degrees on the coolant. So I like to get those up to about 150 before I go. Bumping up the idle is not only better on the engine, but it'll warm up a little faster too. Four pounds now this week. Well, I lost 4 pounds this week. I've been focusing a lot on protein. I've been speaking to a dietitian, and she's telling me that I need, I never realized how hard it was to get this kind of daily protein in. But 80 to 110 grams of protein a day is what I need to have, and she said to focus on that more than anything. And so that's what I've been doing. I've cut out pretty much, I'd say 90% of the carbs that I would have had before. Like the other day I made a really good soup, like kind of a homemade soup in my truck, with some meatballs in it. It was just a tomato soup. I just used diced tomatoes that were like seasoned with Italian seasonings already, and I mixed those in with a little bit of chicken broth and put a few meatballs in it, and it tasted really good. Really good. So in fact, I think I actually put a little bit of chicken in there too, or not chicken, but sausage in there too for a little spicy, not spicy, but a little bit of a spice to it. It was, granted, they were breakfast sausage links, as you'll see in the picture, but it was really good though. I made it on my butane stove in here, and it was really good actually. I put some extra seasoning in the soup, when it cooked, and I was pretty impressed. So I got a whole bunch more of that, but that's like zero carb right there, zero. I mean, except for whatever might be in the you know, naturally in the tomatoes. So, you know, it's mostly protein, and yeah, mostly protein. So, I'm going to do a lot more of that. And yeah, like I said, I'm down 4 pounds now in 1 week. So we will keep on that trajectory, I hope. I'd say that's close enough to 150. I think we can mosey on out of here. All right. It's dark out there. It is dark. This thing sounds so good, man. It's just, I mean, listen to how smooth that engine sounds. This truck really is mechanically in great shape. I just got to get that oil leak fixed. But listen to how smooth that kitty cat sounds. There's a couple trucks here when the sun comes up. I'll have to show you. They are pretty cool. There's a cab over right over there that looks really nice. Maybe a Peterbilt Kenworth or a Peterbilt cab over. And then there's a really nice 359 parked over here somewhere. I'll have to show that to you too when the sun comes up. That's why I like coming here. They work on older stuff. Now I think the cab over is for sale. There's a couple, that's where people put their trucks that are for sale. They put them over there right by the road. I believe that cab over is one of them. I'll have to go check it out here. But yeah, there's a really nice 359 sitting back here. Like I said, when the sun comes up, we'll take a better, closer look. And I just saw Mr. Keith a minute ago drive by in his pick-em-up truck. But they aren't really officially open yet, so I'll wait to check in. Uh-oh. Yeah, Keith says an awesome wrecker even. I have been on the hook of that wrecker before. Yeah, with my Cascadia. They came and got me. I was about 200 miles away. No, more than that. About 230 miles away. That's when the transmission went out in my Cascadia. and they brought a rental truck out to me, Kenworth T660 that was deleted, and damn, that thing was that was a nice truck to drive. It was like an '08. Had the ISX in it, and boy, she was tuned. She had some power. But anyway, yeah, they brought that. They came and got my Cascadia and threw it on the hook on that truck. And it's a really nice truck. Like I said, they like their older trucks around here. And that truck is a, I'm not sure the year, but it's a 359. Just like I was talking about, there's a 359 sitting over here in the yard. Well, that's what they use for their wreckers, an old 359. Now, look at that sunrise. Beautiful. And right there is the 359 I was talking about. Still kind of dark, though. I think it's such a cool looking wrecker. I like it. Oh yeah, that's sexy. Yes, sir. Got a light out up there. Yeah, look at that sunrise. It's always interesting to see it from the other vantage point. Well, it looks like I'm gonna get a couple new steers on the truck too while we're here. But yeah, while we're over here, I just wanted to show you that cab over. I've seen this one here before, actually. It looked different when it was a little darker. I couldn't see the color that well. But is it for sale? He's still got all the decals on it. I don't know. Oh yeah, it's for sale. Got a smashed up bumper, but yeah, old Kenworth. That's pretty nice. Could use a little loving, but it's not a bad truck. Yeah, I've seen it in here before. Look at that frame right there. Whew. It's a good looking Kenworth. Man, from here it looks so long. That's what she said. Here's that 359 I was talking about. I love that old school paint scheme. This is really nice. I love the way these old 359s look. I love the interior. You got a big old wang up there on the sleeper. And see, that's what I thought about putting on my truck. Just to add just a little more fuel efficiency to it, if possible. Just because I drive a hood truck doesn't mean I don't appreciate good fuel mileage. I just want to be able to achieve the best fuel mileage I can with a hood truck. Sharp. Alright guys, truck is out of the shop. As you can tell, it's really a weird, strange event. Or strange to be a weird scratch that. I screwed that one hole up. That would be a very strange line of events if I was driving right now and it wasn't in or out of the shop. Alright, now that my tongue is barely working, truck's out of the shop. We're heading right now through Akron. Truck has been, it's actually been a few days since I was at the shop. They fixed the majority of everything. I'll show you guys later what they still need to fix and whatnot. There was 2 decent-sized oil leaks. One of them was the oil pan gasket, and they fixed that one. So we got the oil pan gasket fixed up. Got a new gasket on there. And the other one, I don't remember what they said it was. I keep forgetting. But I'll show you if I can find the gear. Oh, I'm in the wrong. There we go. I went the wrong direction. I went the wrong direction with my stick. So we got the oil pan gasket fixed, and it's noticeably leaking less. So that's a step in the right direction. There was that small little, basically a seep coming out of the oil return line where it connects up to the turbo. I could have probably done that myself, but it was in the shop, so, you know, they did that for me. The other leak, which sounds like it's probably the worst leak, they didn't have time to fix. And I cannot remember at all what it was called. I really wish I could. But it's not the spacer plate, which is awesome. It's too high for the spacer plate to be the issue. I keep wanting to say crankcase cover, but that's not it. It's up pretty close to the valve covers. Behind the top turbo. Man, I really wish I was more confident in my mechanical abilities when it comes to a big truck like this. Because sometimes I'm a little overly confident when it comes to working on smaller vehicles, like my Jeep. I mean, I always pull through, I always get it done. But you know, like, oh my gosh, these bumps. You know, so I don't know. I wish I was a little bit more confident. I would love to try to do it myself. I know it's a pretty big job. I mean, they said it would be basically an all-day job. So I'm kind of, you know, it looks to me, if it's where I think it is, you know, you'll need to take at least the top turbo off, which, to take the top turbo off, you might have to take the bottom off too, I don't know. There will be some fair amount of disassembly required, I will just say that. guys, we can finally get this night started because I got me some coffee, otherwise known as man diesel. So I got some fuel, took about 213 gallons. Yeah, they're definitely doing the winter blend right now. I'm feeling it. About 5.5 miles per gallon on this fill up. .5 mpg, so yeah, you know, again, that's not terrible for this, but yeah, we're gonna get on down the road, and we're right now in South Vienna, Ohio. I got fuel with my discount, got it at the Fuel Mart in South Vienna, and with my discount, it should be about, so sad to say, $5.46 per gallon with my discount. It's getting rough. Getting some fuel prices are just going right back up. Hang on tight, boys and girls. Oh man, we found had a little exhaust leak on the truck. Kept smelling exhaust, and not too long ago, I smacked a tire in the road. Couldn't get over. You know, one of those situations you just can't quite get over in time, you know. And I tried straddling it, but the part of the tire smacked the bottom of my exhaust where it bends, after it comes down from the turbo. But apparently what it did too is when it hit it, it loosened the exhaust clamp where it clamps to the turbo. And I could kind of kick it, and you could see it flopping around just a little bit where it hooks up to the turbo. I'll show you. Thankfully, I had my impact wrench. That made the job a lot easier. I couldn't get it where the nut is, where the clamp is. It was too hard to get a wrench back there to get any type of leverage. But the impact wrench got her just perfect. Right there. It was loose right here. So we'll see. I just had to tighten this one up here. But now when I kick it, doesn't move. So that's a plus. So yeah, I got that. And the spot that the other oil leak is called the roller cage. That's what it is. The roller cage is what's leaking oil on the hot side of the engine. So that's what we're gonna have to deal with when we fix that remaining oil leak. But it's not been using as much oil since they fixed the oil pan gasket and that oil return line gasket from the turbo. Got those two leaks fixed, and it's not, you know, using up as much oil now. So we're on the right track. She's coming along. So oh, but you look at that. Just look at that. It's cold. Yeah. Now see, these lights have heating elements. See these lines like a defroster on a back window of a car? But they only work, typically, if the lights are on, I think. So that's why my brights aren't doing much. Oh, damn it, damn it, damn it. It ain't time for this stuff yet. See that snow up on my horn. Slide now. I'm gonna go grab some coffee. I forgot my mug in here though. And on second thought, we got enough coffee in my thermos still. Oh, the truck's sounding a lot better since I got that exhaust tightened back up earlier. Had kind of a rough idle, but I guess it was just the exhaust leak there. Surprised, it really didn't seem like it was that bad of a leak, but it was a loose pipe right by the turbo, or connected to the turbo. So, I'm sure that'll do it. But haven't smelled any exhaust and running smooth, so we're good. All right, let's get back out there and battle this weather. Well, guys, I talked to a dietitian so I could really kind of buckle down on, eating better and having an idea. See, my problem has always been, I feel like I'm shooting in the dark with what to eat. I mean, I feel clueless. I know everybody says, oh, you just do this. But everybody's body is different, it all, there's a difference for everybody. So I wanted to see a dietitian so I could get, for my body type and what my goals are and all that stuff, so I could see exactly what I need to do, so I could have at least a path to follow, that I'm not just like saying, oh, well, let me try this, or oh, let me try that, because when you do that, you do so many different things, and it just kind of, you need to have a focused diet. And I don't mean diet like, oh, well, just eat better. I just mean like your all-around diet. You need to have a focused diet so that you can concentrate on losing the weight and stay focused on that. And basically what she said was focus on my protein intake. So I've been, I've been eating a lot more like kind of unprocessed meat, so to speak. Like just steak, beef, stuff like that. I do have some processed meat, but not as much. She highly suggested or highly recommended the protein shakes, and I've got one here by Premier Protein, chocolate peanut butter, and so far it's about the only thing besides my coffee, but the only thing I've had today. I'm drinking it now, and she suggested that. She suggested protein bars, which I'm not a fan of protein bars because I don't like candy, and it feels like candy to me. I'm not a big sweets guy. Sweets was never my weakness. My weakness has always been things like pasta, that kind of stuff, but she even told me that, that I need to have, but she was even telling me that, she recommends that I don't do keto, that I still have a fair amount of carbs, be them good or bad. She said my body does need carbs, but I need to outweigh my carb intake with protein intake. So that's what I've been doing. And I gotta tell you, I've lost about 6-7 pounds since talking to her, and I have felt incredibly better. I've been sleeping better. When I get up and start my night, I feel I'm not drinking as much coffee. I don't feel the need for the coffee as much. I am more awake during the day. I have more energy already. And all I did was, basically increase my protein. She recommended for a guy like me about 2,000 calories a day. She said anywhere from 1,800 to 2,200 calories a day, up to about 110 grams of protein, and she actually said, you know, about 80 to 100 grams of carbs. I try not to hit that many carbs, but that's what she recommended. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been helping a lot. It's made me a lot more energetic, and it's making me feel better. You know, that's one reason why I didn't do a whole lot of YouTube for a while. I was just feeling miserable. I wasn't in the mood for anything. I just didn't want to. I mean, I guess you could call it a state of depression to a degree. And that's what having an abnormal amount of weight on your body and your mind can do. And I just feel better, a lot better. And I'm continuing that pace, trying to listen to my body when I eat. When I'm full, I stop eating. I don't eat out anymore. I food prep or meal prep everything that at home and bring it with me on the road. I think I bought one salad last week. Yeah, I bought a salad last week. That was it. Everything else I've been eating in the truck. I've been making this really good dinner in the truck with chicken broth, can of either stewed or diced tomatoes with Italian seasoning, and meatballs. Sometimes for, like, if I haven't done much for my carbs, I'll throw a little bit of pasta into that soup, kind of thicken it up a little bit. And I cook it on my butane burner, and it's absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. And it's light and relatively low on caloric intake. I've just been feeling great. So yeah, here we go. We're gonna get on down the road. I should probably finish out at 30 here, but I don't want to. So, oh, that's really good. Like I said, the Premier Protein Shake. It's only 160 calories for the whole shake. This by itself has 6 grams of carbs and 30 grams of protein. So it's a good way to do it. And she said you can't really have too much protein, so to speak. So I'm sure you kind of can. I mean, obviously there's always a line of moderation, right? But she said as long as I keep everything balanced properly, then my body's going to focus more on the protein and utilize it. You know, and it'll. God, see, this. I'm terrible at this stuff. It's sort of the whole keto, the ketosis mindset, but not keto full on. You know, your body's going to focus more on fats instead of sugars. So you know, instead of carbs, things like that. When you have more protein, which I feel like that's kind of a commonsensical thing to say, but it's helping. Right. Oh yeah, I'm gonna take my hoodie off before I get too hot. Oh, and beef jerky too. When I told her I don't like, I went ahead and got some protein bars. Figured I'd try them, and I've got them in the truck here. You know, and they're a meal supplement. Not really a snack. You know, I just have them as a meal because, like, she recommends several smaller meals a day instead of 2 or 3 bigger ones. And so I've been, you know, so I tried to have those bars as a meal, a small meal throughout the day. But I just don't like sweets all that much. So then I talked to her again about it. I'm like, yes, what else would you recommend if not for the protein bars? And she recommended the jerky. a typical truck stop at the end of the day here in Duncan and PA. Oh man, what is up with these? Really getting sick and tired of these things. They have been terrible lately. Find something I can smash it with. Are those stink bugs? Is that what those are? Is that a stink bug? Oh, he's trying to get away. Still can't get to him. Oh, I got him. His guts are up there. Those things have been everywhere lately. Where'd my GPS module go? Anywho, before we were so rudely interrupted by that unwelcome guest, yeah, so I ended up, my phone got full of videos, and it decided to stop on its own. That's why the last take or whatever was kind of cut off abruptly, where I was talking about what I'm doing to lose weight. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. You know, whatever it was I said, that was a couple days ago. So whatever it was I said I was doing, I'm doing. I think I mentioned it briefly, but the main oil leak that I have on this truck right now is coming from the roller cage. So let's take a little gander. Everybody around here is idling their truck, so I'll have to speak loudly. It is a beautiful day right now. Really no need to idle. I had my APU on for a little while, but that was only because I was using my microwave. Anyway, so I guess where the roller cage is right there. That little line there. Obviously, it's on the other side that it's leaking. However, now I do see a little seepage on this side from definitely from the spacer plate on this side. Yay. Oh well, that's just totally not even a concern. Not bad enough to worry about. See right in there somewhere. It's about where it's leaking at, so yeah, they'll take off that roller cage and get to it. Yeah, they'll take off that roller cage and do what they got to do there. And then I got to get kingpins on here too. The kingpins are bad. It's not wearing weird on the driver's steer tire. But the passenger steer tire has been wearing a little odd, so, you know, I'll have to get new tires as well. Yeah, I've never noticed on this side of the engine, I've never noticed it seeping anywhere until now. So it's got to be a fairly new little seep. Now we'll keep an eye on her. No big deal. Oh, and yeah, the Baldwin filter. That's a new filter. I asked my shop about it. So yeah, the Baldwin filter. I know I had some people tell me I need to put cats on here, and I understand that. Caterpillar filters, I get it. But I spoke to my shop about it when we did the service last, and I asked them, I said, hey, do you guys have any Caterpillar filters for the rail location, and you know where the Baldwin filter is? They said yeah, and they got it out, and I was asking them about it. I said, so why do you why do you put a Baldwin filter there, but then you put the Caterpillar filter on the block? I'm like, why? What's the advantage? What do you what's the theory or what's the logic behind that necessarily? Basically what they said was the Caterpillar filter just filters too good, which isn't always a good thing necessarily. I know a lot of people, you know, when they hear something like that, they're like, well, of course, that's a good thing. You want it to filter too good. That's the point. But it just gets to be a hassle. You know, that's, you know, those are the filters that you've got to replace every 4, 5, 6, 7,000 miles because they're just doing too good. You know, basically, you know, it's got the Caterpillar filter on the block as a last line of defense type of deal. And they've never had any issues with the Baldwins. They've never had any complaints on the Baldwins, and like I said, they use them on all of their Caterpillars for their own fleet, and they've never had any issues. And like they said the problem with the Caterpillar filter in that location is it just gets to the point where it filters too good. It gets too it becomes too contaminated to the point where, you know, you've got to replace the filter. And I'm sure, I mean, you know, way prematurely, you know, and I'm sure a lot of guys out there, they do that and they just think, well, what's the big deal? And I see the pros and cons to both. I'm not going to say that there's not an advantage to it, but I'm also not going to say there's not a disadvantage to it. So that's my choice. I decided to listen to the shop because, like I said, they work on these things all the time, and they have their own fleet of trucks that have primarily Caterpillar engines. So, you know, I don't want to say primarily, but they have older pre-emission trucks. You know, a lot of them have the 6 NZs and Acer Caterpillar engines. So that's how they do the service on all of them. So they wouldn't, you know, do something that they would figure would cripple their own fleet. That's kind of the way I look at it. So why should I expect them to do that to mine? You know, if they didn't have a fleet of their own, then yeah, sure, you could say to the logic, well, of course they're going to put a filter on that's bad, but tell you that it's good. That way they get more business from you because you got to come in for another repair. You know, but like I said, they wouldn't do it to their own equipment. So on to the next topic, speed limiters. They're coming, guys. They are a-coming. Johnny Cash is on my head right now. Hear the train. What's that song? Gosh, I don't even remember the name of it now. I hear the train a-coming. Is that what it is? Or is it, I hear the whistle blowing, or I don't know. I'm terrible with that stuff. But, yeah, speed limiters, apparently, granted, they've got to, I guess they got to pass congressional hearing yet. But I got a feeling they're going to be here. The FMCSA is pushing them out. Yeah, if it was only speed limiters, that'd be one thing. But they just, regulation after regulation after regulation that is only intended to make things harder for people like me, people like a lot of the viewers of mine, the smaller fleets. It is only designed to make it harder on those of us. There's nothing safety oriented behind any of this. Back when I started driving a truck, the state that I'm from, Ohio, where I live too currently, they had a speed limit for trucks that was 55. For cars, it was 65. They ended up bringing the truck speed limit up to 65. And very shortly after that is when Ohio raised their speed limit to 70. And they raised it for everybody, trucks and cars. And there's a reason that they raised the truck limit to match that of the general motoring public. It's safer to have everybody maintaining the same speed or having the ability to maintain the same speed as opposed to creating giant roadblocks. And you know, the problem, I mean, I'm preaching to the choir for those that are truck drivers that are watching this, but the problem is that the vast majority of the general motoring public, they don't understand that. They don't even know what a governor is, even in their own car. They don't know what a governor is. They don't know what a governor does. They don't know what the point of one is. So if they don't even know what one is when it comes to their own vehicle, because, you know, a lot of manufacturers, they put governors on their cars off the assembly line. You know, I mean, a lot of SUVs are governed at like 105 to 110. A lot of German cars, like, you know, at least they used to be this way anyway, like the AMG Mercedes and M-Series BMWs, they were all limited to 155 miles an hour. Obviously, they could go a lot faster, but they were electronically limited, i.e. governed, at 155. Like I said, I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee at one time that was governed at about, I think, 110, and I met that a couple of times. I believe the statute of limitations is up on that. The vast majority of the public doesn't understand what a governor is. So when they see two trucks, because this will happen, two trucks will try to pass one another. And as we all know, when you see two of the same company's trucks passing one another, but you know they're both governed at the same speed, yet one of them still miraculously manages to be going a little bit faster than the other one. No two trucks 65 mile an hour or 67 mile an hour or 62 mile an hour is the same. There are so many different variables that play into that. So many different variables. The wear of the tires, because newer tires are going to have a bigger diameter. I mean, there are so many, all that goes into play, just stuff that you don't think about. Like I said, just the simple wear of your tires. If you have bigger tires or smaller tires, it makes a difference. And that little bit of a difference, brand new tires compared to used, worn down tires, that will play a difference. And you're going to have these two trucks trying to pass one another. One's going 0.3 miles per hour faster than the other one, even though they are both technically governed at 65. And it's going to take them all damn day to get past one another. But as they accrue a ginormous amount of traffic behind them, the general motoring public has no idea that they're governed. They're thinking that these two trucks are playing games. They're thinking that these two trucks have, they're think, even though most of these guys don't have CBs anymore, again, the general motoring public, the only education they have about truck driving is from Smokey and the Bandit. So they're going to look at these guys as all having CBs and making these plans just to gang up on the little four-wheelers and trying to slow them down. They're going to think that that's what we're doing. And then the road rage that will commence from situations like that will be disastrous. So you're going to have the road rage issue. You're going to have the issues where, again, say you have two trucks that are perfectly identical in speed. Problem is, one truck has 5,000 pounds in the box. The other truck has 45,000 pounds on the box. They get to a hill. It may not be that long of a hill. The truck that's 5,000 pounds goes out to pass the truck that's 45,000 pounds because he's getting up the hill faster. Problem is, the hill crests before the truck can get by the heavier truck. And then the heavier truck speeds back up to the allotted governed speed. And now they're side by side. But that the truck that's being passed, he's not going to let up on the cruise control. He wants to maximize his mileage. He wants to maximize his daily mileage, right? He's not going to let up on that cruise control just to appease some stranger that's trying to pass him. No. Nay. He's not going to do that. And it's going to create a lot more rift in the eyes of the motoring public. And we're going to be looked at as the enemy. We're going to be looked at as even more so of the enemy than we already are. These are very common scenarios. Very, very, very common scenarios. There are plethora of other scenarios that you could choose to get this point across as to why these are bad ideas. Bad ideas. As I started saying, if it was only speed limiters, that's one thing, but you're compounding, I really should put a thesaurus in this truck. You are compounding these regulations to make it impossible to do anything out here. And it's like, I feel like this is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back for a lot of the people, a lot of the drivers out here. If this actually gets put into practice, which I don't have any reason to believe it won't. And this is not about safety. When you see them cut E-log regulations or hours of service, period, when you see them cut hours of service regulations for one sanction or for one sector of the trucking industry, but not the other, it's not about safety. If they can do it for this section of trucking, why can't they do it for the other? Why can't they do it for the rest? It ain't looking good, man. It ain't looking good. Not to be the bearer of bad tidings, but it's just not looking good for the everyday, hard-working American, red-blooded trucking man out here anymore. And it's been going downhill like that for a long time. And like I said, I just feel like this is going to be the nail in the coffin for a lot of people. And again, for the third time, if it was just about the speed mandate and we didn't have all these other nonsensical regulations, then I don't think it'd really be that big of a deal. But you can only take so much before something has to break. It kind of makes me wonder, why am I investing so much of my money to keep going in this industry? Why? When they're going to make it impossible to see a return on my investment. When they do things like this, that's what they're doing. They're making it harder and harder to see a return on my investment. Nothing I do on this truck is free. Everything costs money. When I put this thing in the shop to get that roller cage leak dealt with, and the kingpins and the new steer tires, what do you think that's going to be? $5 grand? $4 grand, $5 grand, something like that. And we're expected to keep putting this money into our business, into the economy, and they're just much like that bug I just killed. They're just putting what I use? I used a tube of grease. They're putting a tube of grease on our backs and just squishing us down is what they're doing. If that offends anybody, I don't know what to say. This is my business we're talking about. This is the ability to keep providing for my business, which provides for my family. That's what this is. They're making it harder and harder for everybody like me to do. And I'm sorry if that brings out any emotion from me that offends somebody. I really am, because this is my livelihood, as it is many others. And those that have fleets of trucks that this will affect negatively, then all the drivers that work for that fleet, that drive in that fleet and are paid by that company owner. We have every right to have emotion when it comes to this kind of thing, and to get angry and to throw up our fists and say there's only so much that we can take out here as business owners that are simply trying to help keep our country moving and provide a good life for our family while we're at it. And all we're getting is this tube of grease just squashing right down on our backs until our backs break. So I don't know, guys. Do what you gotta do. I guess this rant has gone on long enough. Why do we keep investing into this industry? To have this crap happen. There's more I can talk about what we're doing, and some of it you guys would really not like, but I'll keep that for another video. So anyways, guys, y'all have a good one out there. Be safe, keep surviving to thrive, or try to keep surviving to thrive. Do what you gotta do. Yeah, I was genuinely angry when I heard about that. About the FMCSA ignoring 15,000, well, I don't know how many of those 15,000 were negative comments about, or talking about how bad they were, but I would imagine the majority of the comments, the vast majority of the comments, spoke negatively about the idea of speed mandates. But they ignored it, just like I knew they would. Even though I knew they would, I still left my own essay explaining every reason why it's a bad idea. They ignored everybody, guys. That's what they do. That's what the FMCSA does. They're a group of bureaucratic, shit-eating scumbags, is what they are. All right. You all have it going out there. Please be safe. We'll just have to see what happens out here, huh? Hopefully we're not the bug under this tube of grease. See you guys on the next video.